What's up, everybody? Welcome to Webisode 3. I'm on location right now at Old Westbury University. I decided to mix it up a little bit and do some outdoor stuff before it gets freezing. Because I'm on a university campus, you might see kids walking back and forth, but whatever. So I got some really cool questions for Webisode 3. They were very deep, some deep questions. So Webisode 3 is going to be a little intense, but nonetheless, I hope that I'll be able to elaborate and just really, help you out with your questions and your comments and your topics, all right? So I want to start off on a light note, like I usually like to do. I got a question from a regular. We love him very much. And he said, what is your favorite movie? Okay. My favorite movie is like a combination. I have tons of favorite movies, so that's a hard question. But I absolutely love The Notebook. I love The Notebook. I love Forrest Gump. Passion of the Christ, of course. Enchanted. Rush Hour. Okay. You get the point. I like movies. And he said, what's my favorite movie theater? Well, my favorite movie theater is Lowe's Movie Theater because of the reward cards. And I like to get free popcorn, free soda, and all that good stuff. A lot of people wrote to me kind of their personal experiences, and I guess for privacy purposes, I'm not going to elaborate on, the personal experiences. I just want to get to the questions and hopefully I can answer your question. So this person asked me, what inspired me to turn to God and live by His Word? Well, when it comes to God, a lot of people have questions. A lot of people don't even like to talk about God. I'm very open about God, and as you can tell, you follow me, then you know where I stand. There's no shyness here. I'm not ashamed of what I believe. What inspired me to turn to God, I was always searching for that relationship with God, and I always had a desire. It was instilled in me from birth. So God's hand was always on my life, I would say. But I hit rock bottom. I was about 16 years old, and I had just about enough of life, about enough of my circumstance, enough of my situation, and I didn't know where to run. I didn't know where to turn. I couldn't go to the current church that I was going to at that time, so I decided to just kind of do nothing about it and just see what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to live. I didn't know if I was going to die. And airplane. And someone came and actually invited me to church, and I went to this church, and it was awesome. It was the first time that I had seen people actually just cry out to God so openly. And that day, I felt God, and I heard His voice, and I had an experience with God. And I'm the type of person that I'm not easily persuaded. I'm not easily enticed or brainwashed. But when you feel something that real, then, there was nothing I could do. I knew it was God, and I went all for it. I didn't need any convincing. I didn't need a man or a woman or a person. It was a personal experience, and it was wonderful. And that's what made me turn to God. He said, what made me live by His Word? Well, when I started to search for God, I was living a certain way, and I started to read the Bible. And reading the Bible, I started to search out things that I knew I was dealing with. Anger, a filthy mouth, a lot of unforgiveness. And when I started reading the Word on these things, I noticed that the Word, because I guess I was open to it, the Word started to change me. The Word brought a certain amount of convictions in me that started to make me, I wanted to change. The things that I did before, I couldn't do anymore. He also asks, what helps keep my faith strong and not let temptation consume me? Well, there's temptation all around. And I must say that before, I felt empty. I was living in a world where I was empty. I was I was like on a one-way track to nowhere. I was going so fast, and I didn't know what was to come. I had no hope. I had no inspiration. I had a purpose, but who's to say that my purpose was even going to do anything? Before, like, I had that experience with God, that's where I was. And after, I started to see, like, there's a difference. It's almost like there's two worlds. There's a world where it's full of temptation, it's full of sin, it's full of just craziness, and then there's a world where there's peace and joy. Even when the world is crashing around you, you still feel this peace. And I like to stick to that side. I surround myself with positive things. I read positive scripture. I watch funny movies. I watch things that's going to make me feel good. I don't want to be consumed in the temptation, so I stay away from it. And I think it's the hardest thing. I got rid of some friends that I knew weren't good for me. Some friends got rid of me because they didn't want to go down that road. And if it's something that you're struggling with, it is a struggle, but it's well worth it, sweetheart. It really is. I'm telling you from my heart, and I'm kind of, in this webisode, it's a more personal webisode to me. It's kind of deep, and I'm hoping that I don't turn people off. I want for you to identify with me, because we all deal with the same type of things. And I had to keep myself away from it if I wanted to not get consumed by it. You just gotta stay strong, and really just do the hard thing. A lot of times the harder thing is the right thing to do. So I hope that answered your question. That was kind of intense. I got another question from someone, and it said to talk about, it wasn't even a question, it was a topic. It said talk about total surrender of the flesh and its benefits, and it kind of went into the last question. The good book says put away your old self, and a lot of times that does mean giving up who you were, or your lifestyle, or the things that you used to do, and to walk this new walk. This way you can walk around blameless. A lot of times when you're in the flesh and you're doing, you're doing things to fulfill the lust of your flesh, which means you're doing things just to kind of give in to, whatever you feel like doing. Like, I want to do this, I'm going to do this. This is what I feel like doing. A lot of times your feelings lead you down the wrong way. So I think when you do things in that way, kind of in a self-centered way, it's easier for people to point the finger at you and to say, well, you did this and you didn't even care for me. You were just all self-involved or whatever. What I realize is when you kind of flip the script and you serve people, you're there for people. You give up your natural way of wanting to just do what you want, and you're able to consider other people. You're able to kind of consider other ways and things. You can't really point the finger at me if whatever I did wasn't from a selfish point of view. And total surrender of the flesh, what I've come to realize is just learning how to be a servant. And being a servant isn't being a slave and getting whipped and beaten. It's a beautiful thing. It's being able to be there for someone when they need you. It's being able to give up what you want to do and help someone. And let me tell you, there's nothing more fulfilling than helping someone. When I speak with you through these webisodes and through the social networks that I'm on, and I'm able to give you advice or give you inspiration, I feel blessed. So I encourage everyone in the world, if you can, definitely try it. Just try it. There's no harm in trying, you know what I mean? I want to get to the last question, and this question was pretty intense. It's from someone I know, and they kind of, wrote some personal stuff, and I won't go into all the stuff or the personal experiences with us, but it's from a good friend, and she had some questions about being confused and seeking for what to believe, and I believe that now that the world is in the state that it's in, and I believe there's so many people out there that's searching, and I was searching, and people I looked up to, I know they were searching. So I just want to address the questions in her email, and she started off saying, I hate that I don't know what to believe. I'm confused. There's so many different beliefs. First, I want to tell you, the enemy is the author of confusion. So for everyone out there, whenever you're struggling with being confused, understand that there's powers that be that want to keep you in that state. Because when you're confused, it's a very crippling kind of state of mind to be in. You don't know what to do. You're indecisive. There's so many voices you hear telling you to do this or to do that. Understand that confusion is not in the light. You got to be very careful. Whenever anyone out there is feeling confused, be sure to consult with someone that will be able to give you good advice, good sound advice, because confusion could be a very dangerous state to be in, because when you're confused, you're not sure, and when you're not sure, anything can happen. In this case, I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you. So she says, I'm confused because there's so many different beliefs. How do I follow God without knowing the basics? This webisode is interesting because everyone had a question about God, and I have questions still about God, and who can understand God? You know, if you can understand God, then he's not God. He'd be just a man like us, and we don't need him, you know? So God definitely, there are things we're not going to understand, but in this situation, because you're searching, what I would tell you is people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And if you want to build a relationship with God and you want to know who he is, then it's just like when you have this, you meet this guy or this girl, for the guys that are listening, and you like them and you want to get to know them. You got to get to know them. You got to build a relationship. So I definitely would advise you to read the good book. Read it. Get to know who he is. You said the problem is most religious people don't know how to speak and welcome because they teach their religion is the right one and there's nothing else. And she said, I don't respect that, so I get discouraged. When I question my mother on her religion, she can't answer me from the heart. And it's all about how she knows the truth, and that's it. I'm taking the scripture from the good book. It says, take on my burden upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. So in order for you to figure out where you want to be, you have to know, you have to learn about him. The God that I serve is loving. He's not hard or pressing. He's gentle. He's meek. He is not gonna banish you out because you're unclean, because there's things about you that's not perfect. None of us are perfect. If we were perfect, then we wouldn't need God. So my advice is just like you would for that guy or that girl that you love, get to know him, study him, and you'll come to see that he's loving and he loves you regardless, and he'll be there for you, and all will be well. So that'll be it. I hope that I got to answer the questions. Because there were such intense questions, I had to kind of really condense my answers, and I hope I didn't babble on too much. But my question for you before I go, and please answer my questions. Email me. You can send me a video with your response. I want to see videos. I want to see how you are. I want to see how you look. I want to be able to interact on that level. My question is, do you know who you are? And do you know whose you are? Thank you for tuning in to Webisode 3. I'm sure Webisode 4 is going to be even more awesome. I love you. God bless. See you next time.